Well everyone, we've got a big new mid-season preview to break down that's not only giving us a look into next episode, but well into the rest of the season, and there is a lot of mess to sort through. Hometowns, fantasy suite drama, potential breakups, everybody's crying, just another day at the office in Bachelor Nation, in a preview where we'll find out both production and some of the men can't be trusted. So let's get into this thing because it's a longer preview than normal, and if you haven't seen these videos before, there's only one rule. Please, no posting any blatant spoilers in the comment section below unless it's been sleuthed out, and if you want to watch the full, uninterrupted preview, you can find a link to that in the description.
I can say now with confidence, I am falling in love with you.
I truly feel like I'm on cloud nine right now. Everything I asked for, you really embodied.
Alright, so like most previews, we're starting things off positive. Don't worry, that will shift before you know it. But here, we're seeing next week's one-on-one for Rachel with Zach. We'll be moving from Belgium to Netherlands, and that's where this date is taking place. And oh, wonderful, there's a windmill. Somewhere, Hannah Brown and Peter Weber's ears are burning. However, the more interesting shots in this section are this snippet with Tino, and then this shot with Avon, where Avon and Rachel look to be on a date in a tropical location. We've talked about the final filming spot for the season in preview breakdowns before, and it's looking to be in Mexico, which means that Avon is going to be making it not only to hometowns, but to fantasy suites as well. And heading back to this shot here with Tino, it's not in Amsterdam, nor is it in Mexico. So this must be a hometown date. Not much of a surprise though, as we know Tino makes it to fantasy suites. What is a surprise is that poofy shoulders are back in style. Moving on.
I really can't imagine my life without you. This is the best day ever.
I've always wanted to be with someone like you, but just never knew if it was possible.
Okay, so more one-on-one date shots are coming in, like Avon and Rachel again in Mexico, Nate and Gabby in Amsterdam for a one-on-one next week, and yes, we will be talking more about Nate. Jason in New Orleans on a hometown date. Note that even though Jason's Bachelorette bio lists him as from Santa Monica, his family is from Louisiana, thus why they're here. And then, speaking of hometowns, we have Tyler with Rachel on the New Jersey boardwalk where Tyler works. But don't get too cozy with these two. Back in the original season preview, we got some very quick snapshots, one of Rachel crying in the same outfit and location as this hometown date, and another one of Tyler also crying and also matching the same boardwalk background. So Tyler is the odd one out and will definitely be eliminated at some point during hometowns, whether it's here or whether it's at a rose ceremony. But let's continue.
He has really shown me what it's like to feel love.
I feel like all my dreams are coming true. Sometimes if things are too good to be true, that is exactly what they are.
Well, on that ominous note, let's talk about Nate. So, this is going to be a big week ahead for him, not just because of his one-on-one before hometowns, but because of the allegations being laid against him that just came out yesterday. So, in a story originally broken by Reality Steve, but is now being reported on all over the place, Nate was apparently romantically involved with two women at the same time, one of which found out he had a daughter a year and a half after the fact, when she saw him say so on this show. It's a long story, and it comes with receipts. Now, Nate hasn't really responded to this apart from one Instagram comment saying, "There are two sides to every story, and who knows when we'll hear anything more." I always wonder when it takes a while for a Bachelor contestant to respond, or there are these long silences from them, because often their social media postings are somewhat controlled by production or are under contract. But also, you gotta respond to this stuff, especially considering he's been labeled a fan favorite and one of the men whose name has been thrown out for next Bachelor. But heading back to the preview, we've got a bunch of pensive solo shots of each of the men. Tyler on his hometown date, some shots of Tino and Johnny that could be from rose ceremonies, and a shot of Zach that could theoretically be from a moment where he sits down with Jesse Palmer to unveil some hidden truth. But we'll come back to that a little later. For now, let's move on into, even more drama.
There has been a situation with Logan. She was in tears.
I feel awful.
You gotta pack your bags.
Watching her kiss somebody else was absolutely sickening.
This is a joke.
Tino's acting like a real baby back bitch.
Okay, pausing here, cause what?
Tino's acting like a real baby back bitch.
I'll have to ask my accountant about that.
So two things are happening here. Tino's acting like a real baby back bitch as a new jealousy storyline seems to be emerging. Something that's not terribly uncommon in this franchise as we get further and further along in a season and emotions run high. But bigger than that is this scene with Jesse and Logan where Jesse tells him to pack his bags. Now, all we really know about this is that Jesse classifies it as a quote, situation, Logan feels terrible, and that he has to pack his bags. And my initial gut reaction is that this feels like a rule-breaking situation with the host intervening, as if Logan did something or has something that's not allowed. Think back to the Ivan situation from Bachelor in Paradise where he contacted another contestant not on the show yet when they had to take shelter from that storm, which could mean that Jesse here is telling Gabby and or the other men that Logan has already left due to this quote situation. However, at this point, we also can't rule out that it's something unrelated to the show, cause I do wonder if he did something on the show, they'd typically want him to be confronted by Gabby and have her do the dumping instead of Jesse, right? But I guess we'll see. Either way, it does appear to end up in Logan leaving, which means the 6 of Gabby's guys goes down to 5, with 4 spots for hometowns. And that's if she even lets 4 guys get a hometown. But we'll talk about that theory in a second. For now, let's keep things going.
I'm terrified of not just being a mom, but being like bad at it. I don't know what to do. I'm just so conflicted now, I just don't understand. I feel so blindsided by you.
Okay, so before we get into the Avon stuff, we've got Nate once again in a shot we've discussed a lot on this channel. And our theory that this was going to be a breakup stemming from Gabby being not quite ready to become a mom is looking to pan out. Especially considering this right here is the last of the Nate footage from the previews. And then we have Rachel in the final filming location saying she's so conflicted and she's so blindsided. But we have to be really careful with all of this endgame footage. First off, we don't know if this conversation is actually between Avon and Rachel, or that this was actually the sentence Rachel was saying here. All we see her say is, "I'm just so conflicted, I don't understand." Then it cuts to Avon and we get a sound clip of her saying she feels so blindsided. Now yes, this could all actually happen as the preview shows it, but if we take a look at like every season preview ever, that's usually not how it ends up playing out. Still, there's more to this Rachel stuff as we move along, so let's continue.
I don't want to be with a boy. I want to be with a man.
After overnights, you changed your mind? You told me things, and then you went back against what you said.
Oh, and the music is ramping up that intensity as the drama piles on. First with Gabby and Johnny, where Gabby calls him a boy, allegedly. Cause once again, we don't actually see her say this to Johnny, and in fact, we heard her saying something very different on this date earlier in this same preview. Check out what she's wearing here. It's the same outfit as what she's wearing in this clip.
He has really shown me what it's like to feel love.
Now, one interesting thing to note is that this shot looks to be in Mexico, meaning Johnny makes it past hometowns. Something that actually does make sense when you look at the math of it all. Cause we know Jason and Eric seem to be the top contenders with Gabby based on the edits and past previews, but with Gabby having 6 guys left and both Logan and Nate on the outs next episode, that leaves one last Final 4 spot for Spencer. And he has barely had any screen time at all this season. So much so, I wonder if Gabby will even keep him for hometowns. For all we know, Gabby feels like her and Spencer haven't come far enough for a hometown, so she heads into week 7 with just 3 guys. Regardless, Johnny looks to be getting a fantasy suite. We know he's getting a hometown as we've had a viewer confirm that this shot looks to be in Florida, where Johnny is from, and their outfits do not match up with what they're wearing in this shot also from the Night 1 preview. But even though Johnny has, quote, shown Gabby what it's like to feel love, he's still doomed. As if we go back to the Night 1 preview, I'm talking about the one before the show even began, we can spot Gabby in her same outfit as this date with Johnny, where she's crying. So Final 3 looks to be where things end for Johnny. But alright, of course, also in this section is a big dramatic moment with Rachel. I'll play it back again.
After overnights, you changed your mind? You told me things, and then you went back against what you said.
So a very dramatic moment that the preview is implying happens between Rachel and Tino. But of course, you know that's not the case, it never is. But we're going to be getting a lot of footage with Rachel from this moment in the sections ahead, so I'll let you in on what I found out once we get to all of that. And yes, I do know who she's talking to here, and it's not Tino.
I'm so sick of this. I don't want to do this anymore. He never loved me. How do you move forward? You can't do that.
Okay, so as we're getting into the final moments of this preview, there's a lot of crying and a lot to process. I'll start off by pointing out two shots from Gabby's side of things, as we have a frustrated looking Eric paired up with this shot. And I'm wondering if this woman here is Gabby, because it kind of looks like her outfit here matches up with a moment we've seen in the first season preview. Take a look.
They're ruining everything, trying to decide what they want.
And here we are, a big mess.
Alright, right here, this outfit. Looks like a match to me. But again, we don't see Gabby actually with Eric, so it's possible this is just fancy editing. But alright, we're at the end of the preview, so let's finish it off and talk about Rachel's fantasy suite betrayal.
He said he can't love me. It's like, am I too broken for anyone to love?
And there you have it, two majorly dramatic moments for each of our bachelorettes. But let's start with Rachel and her sitting down with someone who has apparently gone back on everything they said during fantasy suites. So who is she talking to? Well, we do get a glimpse of a man in the doorway here, but it's not a good look, and this could be a producer. However, in this shot, I want you to note Rachel's earring, as we've seen this shot before in a very quick sequence of shots that flashed by from the Night 1 season preview. Take a look.
I'm so done. It's just so crazy that this is like the way it ends.
Did you catch it? Now this is actually from the preview before the first episode, so you can't even find this on YouTube, you'd have to rewatch episode 1 to get it. But in this quick sequence of shots, we get this shot right here. Check out Rachel's earring matching the one from before, and of course, Avon is right there, meaning he is the root of this Rachel drama, and this previous Rachel-Avon moment could actually be with the two of them and isn't a fake out. So now we can safely speculate that Tyler will be the final 4 elimination, followed by Avon, leaving Zach, and Tino. And note that apart from the beginning, Zach is absolutely absent in this preview, even though we know he makes it far. Which has me wondering, is that to protect him from his obvious final pick status, which they often do, or are they holding back something else? Don't forget that this moment is still to come.
Things are obviously taking a turn.
Yeah,
What do you want to do?
I need to tell her this full truth.
So, I don't know. This could be bad, it could also be something that doesn't end up becoming an issue. At the moment, I'm kind of flip-flopping between Zach and Tino for Rachel's final guy. And Gabby's final 2 guys is kinda a similar story. So we know things are likely coming down to Johnny, Jason, and Eric, with Johnny going during fantasy suites. But I want to know, what's with all this Eric footage? We've got a ton of crying shots or footage of them together from the previews that does not look fun. And like Zach, Jason is missing from it all. Is this another case of him being held back from being an obvious frontrunner? Or is this Eric footage a red herring? At this time, I see no reason to believe that Jason isn't the guy, so with Gabby, I'm still thinking that it's him and that, well, he's just boring. He doesn't talk much, he doesn't come out with the one-liners that are good for TV, so maybe that's why we're not getting much of him. But remember, there's still a lot to come, and a lot that could still change. So that's it for this extended preview for week 6 and beyond. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, let me know by giving the video a like, commenting your thoughts and theories down below, and subscribing to the channel. See you all next week for episode 6, and until then, Bachelor Fan Take out.
Watching her kiss somebody else was absolutely sickening. This is a joke.
Tino's acting like a real baby back bitch.